Hello everyone. In the present video, I will discuss about the concepts of indigenous technology and indigenous industry. These concepts I will discuss in the context of rural sociology. And in the discussion, I will give the reference of India's Northeast. So let's begin. What is indigenous technology? Indigenous technology is different from the modern industrial technology. Whenever we say modern industrial technology, it means something related to machine, something which has been produced by scientific labs, scientific community, and industries. But indigenous technology is different. Indigenous technology is basically a kind of technology that uses by the people, the community, the local groups in any village, in any of the rural locality. The technology they uses and the technology which they have been following since time immemorial, and the technology is also linked to their living pattern, also linked to their survival pattern. It is also linked to their economy. But this indigenous technology here in the rural sociology means a technology that is being used by the rural peoples, the community since long time. And this technology is part of their tradition, part of their custom, part of their customary practices of life. It is part of their living pattern, part of their economy. And this technology is uses not just for economy, not just for agriculture, it is also uses for building houses, for constructing the house, for making any kind of the communication system, for making bridge in the road, in the canal, or making a canal. So different kinds of phenomena, different kinds of system may be regulated by this indigenous technology. So indigenous technology here means a technology that being the produced by the local people at village, indigenous communities, rural communities, and the technology which has been following since long time. And again, this indigenous technology is also linked to the indigenous knowledge. We can also compare it with the modern technology. Modern technology derived from the scientific knowledge. Scientific knowledge is being taught in the university, in the institute. Now, where do this indigenous knowledge teaches? Indigenous knowledge basically passes from elder generation to the younger generation, and accordingly it goes on from one generation to another generation. And this indigenous knowledge is the basis of the indigenous technology. And this indigenous technology is very much linked to the indigenous industry. Indigenous industries are also considered as small scale and cottage industry. In India, there are a large number of small and cottage industries exist. Particularly, I will give the reference of India's northeast region, which is very known for its sericulture, rearing of Muga silk worms to the weaving of Muga silk cloths. Entire process is based on indigenous knowledge and indigenous industry, and this has been preserved in the region since time immemorial, and it has become now the world's most renowned the small scale industry or indigenous industry. The Muga silk, which has become the world famous, the popularly known as the golden silk. So this particular industry is surviving on the basis of the indigenous knowledge and indigenous technology. Now, who are associated with this industry? artisans, and various other local rural communities, indigenous communities who are associated with muga silkworm rearing, plantation of particular plants which are being used for muga silkworms, and the weaving. So artisans, local communities, village communities are associated with preserving indigenous industry, indigenous knowledge, and that has been again passing from one generation to another generation. So there are other various indigenous industries exist in the region and in other regions of India and also the other parts of the world. So any indigenous industry is based upon the indigenous technology and indigenous knowledge. Now the issue of indigenous industry in the modern time is the competition with the large scale modern industries. Modern industries are mainly developed based on the machine based modern technology, and modern technology is the product of science and technological innovations, and these modern technologies produces large sizes of products, and it also produces different other technological equipments, systems, machines, structures, matters, objects. So that is the reason why indigenous industries are not able to compete with the modern or large scale industries, because indigenous industries are limited to the local resources in the village and local traditions, local knowledge in the village, and it is limited to the self-sufficient production. Exceptions may be there, like sericulture, whose production is now become a global, but production is not in a large scale or not mass, like mass production is not there because of the lack of resources and many such issues. So we can say that indigenous industries, indigenous knowledge, and indigenous technology are the part of the rural society, rural culture, rural tradition, rural community, and simultaneously there emerged an urban technology, urban industry, urban culture, and which is mainly promoted today, which is mainly developed today because of the globalization of economy, globalization of technology. So indigenous industries are somehow surviving. Indigenous knowledge and technologies are somehow surviving. And at times these were the primary source of livelihood for the people. But today these are not providing much benefits to the people. So people are not able to get even their even their livelihood out of these economic systems or indigenous industries. So this much is the present discussion. I will continue the discussion in the next video.